this is loan terms for the private lead water service replacements, but I just wanted to make sure. So we're still doing the same thing we did last time of the partial service replacement and the filters and recommending that people flush and giving the flushing protocol and the filters. I mean, do we have any sense from the last time? Did we reach every household? Did people actually take it seriously and flushing and doing the test pre and post testing and all that stuff?
I believe so, yes. And we had, I believe we had 100% participation on the baseline samples.
Okay.
In nearly 100%, there may have been one resident that did return their post sample, but it was a very small project last year, but they were very engaged. So it went, from a communication standpoint, it went very well.
And how many services are there on this one?
I believe there were 27.
What did we have 2 years ago? Is it, Was it
16 or 19, it was less than 20. Because the project 2 years ago was immediately adjacent to Lake Bluff School.
right?
So, that's a lot of frontage with one service. So, same number of feet of main replaced, but just far fewer services.
Okay, I just wanted to check that we were doing the same protocol and wanted to know how that whether that, because I wouldn't want someone, I know there was some confusion last time about the notification going to the landlord and not the person actually living in the unit, so.
It's been our procedure for a number of years that whenever we do any type of a mailing related to a construction project, there is a mailing to residents, and then if it's a non-owner occupied property, the property owner is also notified at the property owner's place of residence.
Okay. I'll move approval of item 5J, communication plan for 2019 water and
Next. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Moving on to 5K, consider communication plan for 2019 sidewalk project.
Yes. So I just had a question or a comment about the process of assessing fees for the homeowners and when that fee notification is delivered to the homeowners. I had someone who reached out to me about advance notice and how much time they get, and so as if that could be a pain point for them, and so I don't know what that process exactly is.
As outlined in the communication plan, by statute, we're required to give a property owner 20 days advance notice prior to construction. We strive to give them a greater notice than that, but 20 days is statutory. And then, so they receive a formal notice of assessment, which is an estimate of the construction costs. If, in fact, the work, when complete, is different than that amount, then they receive an invoice for the work. If it doesn't change, and with a sidewalk, it typically does not, that payment then is due and payable. Usually we will put a November 1st date on it. If they don't pay by November 1st, then it is rolled onto their property tax bill.
So really they would get a couple week notice of
I
what
think
their estimate would be for
at this point we are targeting those assessment notices to go out in the middle of May, with probably a mid-June construction start at earliest. So really they have, there's no penalty for allowing it to roll onto the property tax bill.
Okay.
So they would have, if they wanted to take advantage of the deduction of their the property taxes, not the sidewalk assessment, because that's not deductible under state law. They would have till the end of the year to pay it.
I noticed there's no charge for grinding. What kind of cost is the grinding versus sidewalk replacements?
That will vary based on the total estimated volume that we do. At this point, I don't have a solid handle on that, but this is new. We're incorporating it at the request of a number of people, and I think it's a very good approach. But it is, it's something we're giving a good try this year. There may be modifications to that as we go into future year projects, but as of now, this is how we're anticipating it will work and be provide the best project to the residents and taxpayers.
Can we do a little bit of notification earlier in the year, either through the village manager's memo or on the board in the library? Because I lived here for many years before I even knew about this. And if you never have the assessment, you could live here 20 years and never have to pay it. And then suddenly you get a bill for $1,500 and it's kind of a shock to people. So, I've been trying to just let people know, because that is the neighborhood I live in, that this is coming. Longtime residents know about it and understand it, but a lot of people can have lived here for a while and have no clue. So it would be great if we could do a little bit of information about it, just so it's not such a big, because it could be a really big bill.
That was sort of more what I meant, like I had read that I couldn't find the exact number of days that we have, but I saw a few residents that's their concern, is that they get this bill, they have a relatively short amount of time, even if it's up to November. So if there's any way that we can provide just some extra communication.
You can provide blanket communication.
Right.
But we can't provide direct, you are being assessed and this is the estimated amount of the assessment until we do the field survey, and you can't do that till snow's off the ground. So, as early as, after the first of the year, we can start sliding it into village managers' memos or other places and say, hey, this is a sidewalk program for this year. That this may pertain to you. If it does, you'll hear from us, this spring. We can absolutely do that.
I think that's what we're sort of aiming towards, Steve. So get some of those more, it's not necessarily individually targeted, but just make sure that it's in places like the village manager's memo so people have general awareness that this is going to happen.
Okay. I'm going to block in the communication plan then, where I have it blocked out for notification via manager's memo, Facebook. I'll alter that to be a little more general about other social media avenues, maybe the library, and then I'll block the time all the way back to January, if you'd like me to do that.
A garbage cart flyer might not be a bad idea too.
If we didn't have automated garbage carts, I would absolutely agree with you, but that's difficult
Oh
now.
my God.
And then, do we still mark, am I thinking of the right, do we mark the
Yes.
sidewalk
Yes.
with spray paint? When does that happen?
During the field survey. So
Okay.
probably, that's weather dependent, but likely, April.
So part of the communication, forgive me if this, is maybe we do the past estimate, look for, if you see marks, know that something's coming. Like, your sidewalk, all of a sudden it has spray paint on it, it's probably not straight art.
Rub it off.
You laugh.
I saw my neighbor.
No, we
Laugh.
don't. Is there paint yet there?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Banksy Shorewood. All right, any other discussion? All right, is there a motion to approve the communication plan?
Approve the communication plan for the 2019 sidewalk project.
I'll second it.
Great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0. Item 7, public hearings, there are none this evening. Item 8, citizens to be heard. This item is for matters not on the agenda. Discussion may follow comment on non-agenda items, or discussion and action may come at future meetings. Do we have any citizens that would like to be heard this evening? That would be no.
No.
Think about it. Any? Going once? Going twice? All right. Moving on to new business. Item 9A, confirm loan terms for private lead water service replacement. Who would like to introduce this item? Ms. Bushlight.
Essentially, we are asking you to confirm the continuance of the loan terms and policy that you agreed upon for the 2017 water main relay. So that, again, we would use the same process for construction replacement and notification as Trustee Amenta just mentioned. But this really is a specific request for your confirmation of the loan policy terms, which in 2017 gave residents the option to participate in a full-service line replacement through the village's contract. And 5-year, it would be considered and recorded as a special assessment against the property with the 5-year payback, 3% annual interest.
Any questions from the board?
I don't have a question, but I would say that I will vote for this again. Unsuccessful.
Did you recall that?
Yeah, February, last year, we had, the board approved reducing to no interest rate
Yeah,
in
we approved
February.
it to 0, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you
Or do we
for,
want to,
You have to amend it,
do we want to?
or put it in the motion.
we don't
I
have
think
a
it's,
motion.
if we can get people to do this, it's a
Yeah.
good thing.
Oh.
And not very many people opt to do it, but to the extent that it's, I mean, I think
Right.
health-wise, it's better than to not have the lead go in here.
I would move that the 2019 water main relay program include the option for replacement of private lead service lines at property owners' expense, repayable to a 5-year assessment at 0% annual interest.
Second.
Is there a fiscal impact that we need to note that's been calculated, kind of estimated already?
Not that I have, and I apologize. I do recall that now that you said that staff's recommendation in 17 was 3%, and that came from finance. And so I was referencing my memo, not the minutes, and I apologize for that error. I can certainly speak with Mark, and we can get you that information tomorrow or this week, but I don't have it with me.
Would it impact our budget that we just did? No. Okay. Any other discussion?
So this, just question the new person. So this reflects what the current state is, 5 years, 0. Okay.
That's my understanding from the conversation this evening.
Right, the motion on the floor. I believe the previous motion was 3%, 5 years and 3%.
The motion on the floor is what we're currently, it's a continuation of current state.
No, it would be changing it to 5 years at 0% interest, from reducing it from 3% to 0.
So,
It is what it is.
right, I believe it, so there was just a
Oh,
little
so-
bit of a glitch. So in 2017, 3%, 5 years was
okay.
proposed, however, it was approved at 5 years, 0%.
Thank you
So
for
on the
that.
floor for tonight is 5 years, 0%.
And it is current state.
Okay.
I stand corrected, Trustee Warren. Thank you for bringing that to our
Great
attention.
clarification.
Excellent. Any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, we will take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 6-0. Item 9B, consider ordinance 2098 repealing section 409-3 panhandling from the Village of Shorewood Municipal Code. Who would like to introduce this?
sort of one of those examples where I guess you could say that the sands of time sometimes change the legal landscape, not because any legislature has changed the law or the statutes, but you have a different group of judges that are interpreting the Constitution and the law in a different way. It's just sort of something that municipal attorneys have been keeping an eye on over the last 2-3 years. There was a Supreme Court case that came down, and without getting too technical or nerdy about it, applied a different test to regulations, panhandling regulations, where they applied what's called the strict scrutiny test to those regulations. And when the court says that they're going to interpret or scrutinize an ordinance or a regulation or a statute under that test, it's almost outcome determinative where they're going to find that it violates the Constitution. And so since that Supreme Court case, Seventh Circuit has taken a look at that and struck down a few panhandling ordinances and statutes in other states, and other federal circuits around the